So, do you usually start with the vocals then?
No, I start with a rough mix.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately, I don't do anything first other than the first thing I do is when I get the multi-track or the DAW, I put up the session, I put up all the faders, and then I run it down once or twice, get a rough balance
Mm-hmm.
that to me captures what the song is about. And then from that point, I'll start working on individual elements. But I very seldom solo. I'm not interested in what the voice sounds on its own. I want to
Mm-hmm.
know what it sounds in relation to the guitars and the other instruments. So when I first started out, I used to start with the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd get these incredible drum sounds. And then as I added the mix, you lost everything because either it wasn't right for that mix, or more importantly, the elements were being clouded by other elements in the mix that were more important. So after spending, a couple hours getting a drum sound and then moving into that, you suddenly say, this isn't right. So that's when I started, back in the 80s, late 80s, early 80s, I guess. I started rough mix, and by then I was working, in digital and or with the recall consoles. So as I'm building the rough mix, I'm keeping track of that, the automation, right from the beginning. I automate everything on the console all the time. Most people leave it all in manual and do the stuff, but from the first pass on, I'm in write mode. Every EQ, every compressor, every fader is in write mode, and when I get to the end, I save it and go to start again. So if I ever do a rough mix and send it to the artist and they come back and they love it and we do the final mix, they say the rough was better, I can get back to that right away. Mm-hmm. Everything, effects, the whole deal, because it's been saved. Mm-hmm. So it can be cumbersome sometimes. It does take up a lot of resources. And if you're not careful, you can say write to all on something and blast everything away without realizing it. But, I'm at a point now where I'm so confident in my work with it that doesn't really become an issue anymore. And again, if I have to go back a step or two, I will. So, when we were building these digital consoles, I was doing a lot of beta testing on them. And I would lose days back in the early Capricorn days and stuff, because the software wasn't right yet. And very frustrating. But now, with Pro Tools or whatever, the worst you lose is a couple minutes if you're always being backed up.